Good morning. Good morning, guys. Welcome, welcome. Oh no. I'm going to just share the link if you choose to listen along with the Spotify playlist. I'm going to drop it right underneath this live video. Just give me just a second. I'll get it there for you. Okay. There it is. Okay. Hey, Jen. All right. So I just put the link to our Spotify playlist if you choose to listen along right in the comments underneath this video. And if you choose not to, that's perfectly fine too. So just get your own music, or if silence is what you prefer, that's all well and good too. We'll get going in just another minute. We are going to start lying down in Shavasana this morning on our backs. So if you are all ready to go and you want to go ahead and get nice and comfy, you can go ahead and do that. And we'll meet you there in just a moment. Give everyone just another minute to get in, get logged on, get comfy. Okay, so just take a moment and make sure you have whatever it is you're going to need for your practice. I just mentioned music. If you want to listen along, I created a Spotify playlist and dropped the link in the comments beneath my post from yesterday and beneath this live video. Get your mat, if you need any props, blocks, or whatever else you might need. Water, coffee, tea. And then settle in on your backs, lying down, closing the eyes. I'll meet you there in just a few moments. But good morning to everyone, or good day, good evening if you're hopping on this video throughout the week. My name's Erica. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope everyone's New Year's off to a good start. So just get comfortable and settle in on your backs. Close your eyes. Let your body take up whatever shape it may. If you haven't done so already, you can start your music. I like to put mine nice and quiet on the background just to help keep me in pace. Good. All right, just take a few deep breaths. Maybe you're just waking up. Maybe you've had a little bit of a hectic morning already like I have. Just whatever's happened so far today, just let it go. Take a few slow, even inhales and exhales. Float the eyes to close if they're not already. Just get as comfortable as you can. So I find that this time of year, every year, probably way more so this year than ever before, I do a lot of reading on the fresh start of a new year. You know, there's so many arguments for and against setting resolutions. Maybe there's new ways to modify or adjust the traditional types of resolutions that people set. Or whether you should set resolutions or make intentions. So I think most of the data shows that most resolutions go unmet. So I think how you plan to embark on the journey of a new year is a really personal decision. So I just wanted to share one thought with you. Whatever you resolve or intend to do, or if you don't at all, that's cool too. But if you resolved or intended to do something different this year, it's not going to happen without your participation and consistent commitment. I feel like so many people posted about things and felt like as soon as that calendar switched from 2020 to 2021 that somehow things would, miraculously be different, be better somehow. And while there's plenty of good reason to be hopeful that 2021 will be better than 2020, it's not going to magically happen without taking ownership for your actions. Changing your habits to support whatever growth it is you're trying to make. Making health and happiness your priorities. Developing boundaries, learning how to say no, and really surrounding yourself with in a positive environment with positive people that support you and your goals. So every day we're presented with the opportunity for a fresh start. It doesn't have to be a new calendar year. But for me, it's always just about being a little better than I was the day before. So if you do have an intention or a resolution that you're working on, whether it's for today, the week, the month, the year, maybe just for the next 45 minutes, bring that into your heart, into your mind, and focus on that. And I'm going to meet you lying down on your backs. Taking just a few more breaths here. Make them nice, deep, full inhales and exhales. Good. Let's take one final breath here before we start to invite some movement back into the body. Good. So very gently and peacefully start to reawaken, maybe just by moving the fingers and wrists, toes and ankles. Maybe a very gentle rock of the head side to side. Let's take a full body stretch. Let's bring the legs together to touch. If they're not, point the toes, extend the arms overhead. If you don't have the space to come all the way overhead, you can reach for opposite elbows and bend the arms. Good. Suck that belly in. Take a nice breath. Good. Then let's hug the knees into the chest. So bring a bend into the legs, wrap the arms around the front of the legs, and just hug those knees in toward the chest. Good. Give them a nice little squeeze here. Very gently and calmly waking up the body. Good. And then I want you to bring your arms down by your side. And I want you to straighten your legs up toward the sky. Now they might not be perfectly straight, which is absolutely fine. We're just waking up the body. We don't need to lock anything out. Flex the toes back toward the face a little bit. Suck in the belly. Shoulders and head are still connected to the mat. This is our waterfall. It's a really mild, energizing inversion. We're just going to take a few breaths here. You might feel the lower core start to engage. Just as a tip, guys, if you're ever here for an extended amount of time, sliding a block right under your tailbone area, your lower back, is really helpful and comfortable. Let's just take 2 more breaths here. Maybe point and flex the toes while you're here. And then I want you to interlace your hands behind your right leg. It doesn't matter where, that depends on your flexibility and range of motion. And then very slowly with control, lower your left leg to the mat. Now, if this is too much for you with that left leg straightened and lowered, just bring a bend into it and bring the sole of the left foot to the earth. Okay, the goal here is to put just some very gentle pressure on that right leg as you guide it closer to the body and warm up that hamstring. I always like to point and flex my toes and roll out my ankle here. Sometimes I like to give myself a nice little calf massage. My calves tend to be really tight. Keeping the eyes closed, keep everything else supported and calm. You can see as you gently start to warm up, if you can get that right leg just a little bit closer to the body. And we're going to take 2 more full breaths here. And then very slowly and with control, we're just going to switch our legs. So if the left leg's lowered, lifting that, gripping the hands behind the left leg, and slowly and with control, lowering the right leg, either extending it out long or starting with the bent right leg with the sole of the foot to the earth. Good. Again, rolling out the ankle, pointing and flexing the toes. Drawing that left leg a little bit closer to the body as it warms up and allows you to do so. Maybe a little massage of the calf. Whatever you did on the first leg, try to do the same thing on the left side, even though it might feel a little bit different. Good. And we're going to take 2 more full breaths here. So nice and slow and steady. No manipulation of the breath, just being aware of it. Good. Then let's hug both knees back in toward the chest. That already feels a little bit different for me. Maybe it does for you too. And then let's open the legs here. So let's part the knees like we're opening the pages of a book. I like to bring my palms to the inside of the knees. So again, just some gentle pressure to help get a little deeper in the stretch. As you start to open up the groin and the inner thigh area. Good. And maybe this is enough for you and you stay right here. But if you're pretty open in the hips and you want to take a happy baby variation instead, you can by grabbing the big toes with the yogi toe lock or reaching for the outer edges of the feet as you draw the knees closer to the armpits. Soles of the feet should be facing the ceiling. If you're in the happy baby, really, if you're in the happy baby or the Malasana, the prayer squat, the whole length of your spine should be connected. So we don't want to tilt the hips up and lift the tailbone off the earth. We want to keep it nice and grounded. And whatever variation you are in, take one more full breath. Good. Then let's hug those knees back into the chest, and we're going to take some rocks up and down the length of our mat. If it feels good, take a few. If it doesn't, just take one to get up. We are going to meet in easy seat cross leg. So meeting in Sukhasana, easy seat. Doesn't matter which leg's in front. We're not here long today. And again, palms wherever they're comfortable for you. Maybe you like them down for grounding, up to receive some energy. We're just going to take a few breaths here as we open up the shoulder area a little bit. So take a nice deep inhale through your nose as the shoulders lift up high towards the ears. And on the exhale out of the mouth, roll the shoulders down your back nice and slowly. We're going to do that one more time. So nice deep inhale. Shoulders come all the way up, and as you exhale, roll them down your back. Good. I just want to open up the neck a little bit here. So let's just take some very gentle neck rolls, some circles to the right. So we'll start clockwise. Nice and slowly. You can close the eyes if you'd like. You don't want to get dizzy. And really make sure that you're drawing the shoulders away from the ears. The way we finish that breath when we rolled them down the back. That's where they should be. I have some serious neck tightness, so this is really hard for me right now, but just lowering the shoulders and taking this slow movement will gently hopefully start to warm and open that up. Good. And then when you finish this circle, we're going to continue just very gently switch directions. This time we go in counterclockwise. Nice and slow. An area in the shoulders and neck where we tend to hold on to a lot of tension. Just trying to gently release some of that. Let's take one more full circle in that direction. And whenever you're done, there's no rush. Y'all will just meet center with a neutral spine, neutral neck. If your hands are any other way, just bring them to face down on your knees. We're going to move through our cat-cows today in this seated position rather than in tabletop. So it's helpful to get a little leverage with our hands gripped gently in front of the knees. Then I want you to take a nice inhale breath, and you're going to arch your spine, maybe even lift the head, suck in that belly, bringing the chest forward. Your range of motion is pretty limited here, but you should feel a nice gentle stretch in the back. And then on the exhale, this is where you really want to use that grip. Round the spine, suck the belly in, maybe even tilt back slightly onto your sits bones. You'll feel a nice stretch in the shoulders too here along with the spine. Good. Inhale, so shining the heart, arching the spine, maybe tilting the head if that's okay for you. Good. Exhale, brings that roundness in, bringing the belly button back toward the spine, maybe even a gentle tilt back once more. Good. And then meeting back in a neutral spine. Good. And we're going to come right over the knees, meeting in a tabletop pose. So we're going to be on all fours, making sure your wrists are in a straight line down from the shoulders. Knees are inner hips width distance apart, directly under the hips. Good. Toes are untucked to start. Good. Let's just start to warm up the wrists a little bit because we put a lot of pressure on them, not only day to day, but in our yoga practice, they do a lot for us. So let's just start some very gentle rocks forward and back just to warm up the hands. Make sure the fingers are nice and spread. Good. And then to take this one step further, let's point our fingers to the outer edges of our mat. Now that our fingers are facing a different direction, we're going to move in a different direction. So gentle rocks side to side. Sometimes just a little bit of movement here will elicit a big stretch. So you don't need to go too far. And if it's too much, back off at any point. And I'm going to give you one more variation, which can be a little intense. So as always, if it's too much, it doesn't feel good, don't do it. But if you have the flexibility in the wrist, maybe bring in the fingertips to face the body. Okay, now I don't even need to rock here. I feel this pretty intensely, but if this feels okay for you, this time again, gentle rocks forward and back. Whichever direction our fingers are facing, that's the direction in which we move. Oh, that's a good one. Okay, so taking whatever movements you need here, I like to just put the tops of my hands down to loosen up the wrists a little bit. And then we'll meet back in our traditional tabletop, fingertips nice and spread, facing forward. Good. And I want you to extend your right toes to the back of the mat, connect them to the ground, and take a couple gentle rocks back and forth just to get a nice little calf stretch, a little ankle mobility here on that right side. Good. Nice and gentle. Good. And then I want you to lift that right leg just hip height. Feel that glute engage. Flex that right foot. And then for just a moment, let's check our balance. So right hand's going to stay planted. Left toes, if you want to tuck them for some additional balance, you can. We're just going to extend that left arm shoulder height like you're going to shake someone's hand. Good. Feel the back of the body engage. And then let's lower everything. This time, left toes step to the back of the mat, connect them to the earth, and we take those gentle rocks forward and back. Bringing in some movement into that ankle, stretching the bottom of the foot, little calf stretch here. And we'll do the same thing that we just did on the other side. So we're going to start by lifting the left leg one piece at a time, just hip height, flex that foot so the toes are facing down. If you want to tuck the right toes for that additional balance, you can. And then we'll extend that right arm just shoulder height, again like you're going to shake somebody's hand. Good. Don't hold your breath here. And then slowly lower. What I'd like to do, I want to invite a little more movement. So taking that same movement we just did, we're going to lift right leg, left arm at the same time. Extend everything out long and lower. Then right arm, left leg. So a couple alternating bird dogs. Keep that belly nice and engaged. Just a nice way to warm up the body. Bring a little heat in. Good. Couple more. Move at your own pace. Just try to link your breath and your movements. Take one more on each side. Then once you finish that and you're nice and even, let's tuck the toes and we're going to lift the hips, finding our first downward facing dog. So in downward facing dog, make sure those fingers are still nice and spread. Slightly angle to the outer corner of your mat. We want to think about lifting our hips as we lower the heels. It's okay if the heels don't touch. They'll get closer with time. Okay, making that upside down V so my neck is right in a line with my spine. And I'm gently melting my chest back toward my thighs. Okay, maybe come high and low on the toes a couple times. Maybe a gentle shake of the head, yes or no, just to get comfortable here. Maybe pedaling out the feet. So take a couple of breaths, a couple of movements just to get more comfortable in this down dog because we're here quite a lot throughout our practice. Good. Whatever you're doing, thinking about evening out, meeting back center. And we're going to take a nice slow walk to the top of our mat. So just one small step at a time, keeping the head hanging heavy. We're going to eventually meet at a forward fold, Uttanasana, at the top of our mat. So here we're letting gravity do the work, letting the top body hang heavy. Thinking about lifting the hips, elongating the back of the legs. Make sure there's no wrinkles in the back of your neck. And what I mean by that is you're not craning your neck. You're just letting it hang heavy. Good. On our next inhale breath, let's lift halfway to a flat back. Hands come to the shins. Shine your heart for just a moment. And on the exhale, fold a little bit deeper. Creating some space in the body. Let's take one more full breath. And then very slowly, one vertebrae at a time, we're going to rise all the way up to stand. This is our upward salute, our Urdhva Hastasana. Inhale, the arms come wide and overhead. Take up as much space as you can. Good. Maybe a very gentle back bend if that's in your practice. And then on your exhale breath, we part the hands and swan dive back into our forward fold. Good. Let's plant the palms, bend the knees if you need to do so. You can always bend the knees here, by the way. And then we're just going to step back to plank. And then we're going to lift the hips up high once more to our downward facing dog. Good. Take some movements if you need to here. Hopefully the body's starting to warm up a little bit. Good. And then once more, we're going to take that walk to the top of the mat. Hopefully it feels a little bit better this time, a little more accessible. We're in our forward fold. Good, letting the head hang heavy. And if they're not already there, bring your feet together to touch. And we're going to find chair pose, Utkatasana. So pretend like you're sitting down in a chair, squeeze your legs together, try to bring your glutes like in line with the knees, and then slowly the top body lifts. Pinkies spiral in, shoulders away from the ears, engage your core, really squeeze those inner thighs. We're not here long. I know the quads are probably burning and starting to activate. That's what we want. Good. And we're going to take a nice little twist here. So hands at prayer overhead, and we're going to twist it out. Left elbow to the outside of that right knee. Gaze can come off that right elbow. Make sure that left knee is not trying to open to the side. Good. Take a breath. Don't hold it. Checking our balance here. Let's bring our weight into the right foot. And you can take a couple steps if you need to get there. But our goal is to bring the weight into the right foot as we shoot the left toes to the back of the mat, high on the left toes in our twisted lunge. So right leg is bent, left leg is straight. We're still twisted here, gazing off that right elbow. And you can release the twist at any point, but we're all going to do that in just another breath. Good. So keeping the bottom base, the legs as they are. Let's just untwist. Bring our hands over our head for our traditional high lunge. Shoulders away from the ears, pinkies spiral in. I like to come high on the left toe so I can really sink into that right leg. Looking for that 90-degree bend here on that front leg. Good. Take a breath. Good. Hands come down to frame out that right foot. We're in our low lunge. And let's drop the left knee, untuck the toes, interlace the hands on top of that right knee as we gently sink forward and down into our crescent lunge. Make sure those back toes are untucked. Make sure shoulders and hips are square to the front of your mat. And you should feel a nice stretch here in that left hip flexor. Okay, now you have the option. If you want to keep the hands here, there's a lot of arm variation options in our crescent lunge. So maybe you stay here, maybe you open to cactus if you want to open the chest and shoulder area. So cactus is like L-shaped 90-degree angles, like a football goal post. Maybe arms come straight overhead. Or maybe if you're really open, they even interlace behind the back. Good. Just really make sure the focus is on this left hip flexor. And we're here for 2 more full breaths. Good. Whatever arm variation you have, releasing it out to frame out the right foot. Let's tuck the left toes. We'll lift back into our low lunge. So in our low lunge, we have that deep bend in the right leg. Fingertips can stay down or they can elevate. Just make sure you're not resting the top body on that thigh. Want to engage the core, engage the thighs. High on the left toes. Great place if you have them. I know not everyone has them, but there should be some makeshift things at home where you can use blocks just to bring the earth a little closer. And if you take a peek up, I have that variation here for you. Good. And then lowering the hands, stepping back to our plank. Now here's where we have our options, where we traditionally flow. If you don't want to flow, you can hold this plank. You can come right back to down dog. If you're feeling really energized, you want to throw in some push-ups, go for it. But if you're going to flow, I'll talk you through it. Take a nice inhale to prepare. On our exhale, we lower halfway down, arms nice and close to the body. Good. Inhale brings you to your back bend of choice. Either upward facing dog, where just your hands and feet are connected, or high cobra, where your hips and thighs are connected. If that's too much, just gently lift the palms off the earth, underneath the shoulders for your low cobra. And then meeting back in downward facing dog. Good. Taking a moment here, pedaling out the feet, melting the chest back towards the thighs, moving nice and slowly. And for our final time, getting ready to walk to the top of the mat. So one step at a time, nice and slowly. Good. We're in our forward fold again, letting the top body hang heavy. Hopefully it's feeling a little bit better, more accessible as we move through our practice. Good. And if they're not there, bringing the feet together to touch once more. Legs nice and zippered together. And then slowly we start to sit into our chair pose, and then the top body lifts. Make sure we're not popping the booty. We want to kind of tuck the tailbone under, engage the core area. See if you can sink a little bit lower. Squeeze those thighs together. Good. One more breath, and then we'll twist it out. So on your next inhale, hands to prayer. And on the exhale, right elbow to the outside of the left knee. Good. Make sure that right knee's not tracking outward. I'm fighting against mine right now. It wants to go there. Don't lose the deep bend for our chair. Gaze off that left elbow. Good. Let's take one more full breath. Don't forget our breath is our most important tool in our yoga practice. And we'll bring our weight into the left foot this time as we slowly, and take as many steps as you need to get there, but we're going to shoot those right toes to the back of the mat. We're in our twisted lunge. So we still have that deep bend in our left leg, right leg is straightened on the toes, and we're twisted for one more breath. Good, and then slowly keeping the legs in this lunge, we're going to untwist to find a traditional high lunge. So again, shoulders away from the ears, pinkies spiral in, high on the right toes, sink deep on that left leg. Good. Feel those quads activate. Nice strong pose here. Suck in that belly. Good. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, we lower the hands to frame out the left foot. We are in our low lunge. We're only really here as a transition this time. So let's drop the right knee, untuck those right toes, lift the top body, interlace the hands on top of the left knee as you gently guide yourself forward and down, getting that nice deep stretch on the right hip flexor. Settling in here, keeping the shoulders and hips square to the front, and knowing you have all those arm variations. Maybe you stay right here. But you have the option if you want to bring the arms to cactus or overhead, maybe even interlace them behind your back. Okay. Let's take about 2 or 3 full breaths here. Gotta make sure we're not open to the side, keeping that right hip flexor facing forward. Left foot is completely connected to the earth, right toes are untucked. Settle in for one more breath. Good, wherever your hands are, let's bring them to frame out that left foot. Let's tuck the right toes. We'll lift into our traditional low lunge, so high on the right toes, left foot still connected, deep bend in the left leg. Peace fingers to the earth, or we hover, or we use our blocks. Good. And then we're gonna bring the palms down if they're not, step back to our plank pose, and you know your options to stay here, go to down dog, throw in some push-ups, or to flow. If you're flowing, take a nice inhale. And on your exhale, with the arms nice and close to the body, you lower halfway. Good. Inhale, find your back bend of choice. If you're in lower high cobra, or actually in any of them, untuck your toes, upward facing dog. And then meeting back in downward facing dog. Good. Let's take a super quick break here. Let's drop the knees out wide, toes together to touch, sinking back into our child's pose. Forehead to touch, arms extend forward. Now if you want to take a sip of water, towel off, coffee or tea, have a few breaths to do that, and then we'll get moving once more. If you don't like child's pose, hero's pose is another great resting option. Just sitting on the heels, keeping the body upright. Wherever you are, let's take 2 more breaths. And then when you're ready, we're going to meet back in downward facing dog for our longer standing sequence of today's practice. For those of you who really are enjoying this rest, I have a little bit of a challenge to start this sequence. So if you want to stay resting for a few more breaths, you can. I'll tell you when you have to meet us. But if you want to take this little challenge, one of my favorite little sequences, meet me in downward facing dog. Good. And then keeping the bottom half of the body exactly as it is, let's come to the forearms one at a time. This is called dolphin. Good. So our arms are in like a number 11, forearms down. We're still trying to lift the hips as we lower the heels. Good. And then you're going to walk your toes to the back of the mat, finding your forearm plank. Don't worry, we're not here long. It's not that kind of class. But take a couple breaths here. Engage the core, lower the booty. Good. Take one more breath. Lower your hips, untuck the toes. This is our Sphinx pose, very gentle back bend here. Maybe this is enough for you. Maybe you want to press through the palms, straighten the arms to find seal. Good. Toes are untucked. The wider the feet are, the gentler back bend will be. Good. If you are in seal, lowering back to Sphinx. Bringing the toes back in, hips with distance, and we're going to go backwards. So tucking the toes, lifting the body. We're in that forearm plank. Good. Hold it for just another breath or two. Let's start to walk the toes back in, lifting the hips, finding our dolphin. Good. And then straightening the arms, pressing the palms down, downward facing dog. And if anyone was still resting, now you'll meet us back in that downward facing dog. Good. For the first time, we're going to lift the right leg, finding a three-legged dog. So it doesn't matter how high it comes. Don't force anything. It doesn't need to come that high if you don't want it to, or if it doesn't feel good. Let's bend the knee, open the hip a little bit, maybe move that right leg around a little bit. Good. Squaring off the hips if they're not already. Knee comes into the nose with that angry cat back. We hover for just a moment, and then slowly with control, we step that right foot between the hands. We're in our low lunge. Good. Let's drop the left knee and straighten the right leg, finding our half runner's stretch. So those left toes behind me, it's completely up to you if you want to keep them tucked to help with your balance, if you want to untuck them, whatever's more comfortable for you. We want to keep the hips away from the heel, and the big movement in our half runner's lunge or our half split is folding over that right leg. Good. Maybe flex those toes back toward the face, see how that feels. Maybe even a gentle windshield wiper of the foot side to side. Good. Again, the stretch here is in the right hamstring. A lot of hamstring work today. Settling in for a few breaths. Really thinking about getting that chest closer to the leg. Try not to round the spine. Really try to lead with your heart in a flat back. Let's take 2 more breaths. And then preparing for our lizard lunge, we're going to bring that right hand to the inside of that right foot. Let's bring the sole of the right foot to the earth, heel toe it to the outer edge of the mat. So my palms and my right foot are all on a line. And I'm going to tuck my left toes, lift the left knee off the earth into this lizard lunge. If this is too much for you, just drop that left knee again. Okay, always options here in our yoga practice. But if you're in this lizard lunge, just take a couple gentle rocks forward and back, opening the hips. Again, getting some movement in that left ankle, left calf. Good. Let's take one more full breath here, and we'll switch it up. Good. So coming back center if you're taking any movement, and we're going to turn the toes to face the side wall, straighten the legs, and fold into our Prasarita, which is our wide leg forward fold. Good. So again, letting gravity do the work here, guys. Your feet should be about 1 leg's width distance apart, so feel free to adjust them closer or further, whatever serves your body best. And as always, I'm going to give you lots of options. Don't feel like you need to try them all. You will have a second side where you can do something different. We don't have a dominant side in this wide-legged forward fold. So maybe you walk the hands a little bit forward. Or you could walk them back between the legs. Just make sure the head's hanging heavy here. And maybe you find stillness, maybe you find some movement side to side. I'm going to talk you through a nice little twist here. So if you want to join me, let's plant the right hand center. We're going to peel the left arm up high to the sky. Next breath brings our left hand down to replace the right. And then the right arm peels up high to the sky. Nice gentle twist here. Nice inner thigh stretch. Good. Lowering back down for a few more breaths. Good. And And I want you to start to lift the top body, keeping the legs as they are, bringing the hands to prayer, and bringing a deep bend into that right leg. So we're in this ninja lunge or this skandasana toward the top of our mats. Good. And we're going to turn the feet forward. And we're going to check a little bit of balance here. So if you want to bring your hands down to blocks or to the earth, you can. But we're going to shift and lift into Warrior 3. So Warrior 3, legs are straight, but a micro bend in that right leg is great to help with your balance. Good. Engage the glute on the left. Flex the left foot. It's just hip height extended behind me. Good. Find a drishti, something you can look at that's not moving. Don't forget to breathe. We're here for one more breath. And whether you are balanced or not, we're going to step back to our low lunge. Good. Planting the hands to frame out the right foot, stepping the right foot back to meet the left. You know your options here. If you're moving through your flow, you can go for it. If not, hold that plank. You can go right back to downward facing dog. If you're looking to crank it up, you can throw in a few push-ups there. After your back bend of choice, right back to downward facing dog. Good. Left leg lifts. Doesn't matter how high. Find our three-legged dog. Good. If you get to on the first side, bend that knee, open the hip. Maybe move that leg around a little bit. Good. Squaring off the hips. Knee comes in toward the nose with that angry cat back, high on those right toes. And then we step the left foot in between the hands, finding our low lunge. Good. We're going to lower that right knee. We're going to straighten the left leg, finding our half runner's lunge. Ardha Hanumanasana, our half split. So again, keeping the hips away from the heels. Right toes can be tucked or untucked, whatever serves you better. Our main focus is this fold, leading with our heart and a flat back over that left leg. Good. Maybe flexing the toes back toward the face. Maybe moving the foot a little bit side to side. See how that hits the hamstring stretches a little bit differently. Taking a few more breaths here. Then really trying to get that chest closer to that leg. Let's take one full breath here before we transition. Good. So bringing that left hand to the inside of the left foot as the left foot plants and heel toes out to the outer edge of the mat, and then lifting those right toes to find a lizard lunge. Again, knowing if this is too much, you can just bend that right knee to lower it again. But if you're lifted, taking a couple gentle rocks back and forth off those right toes. Good, getting a nice big hip opener here. Good, take one more breath in your lizard lunge. Good, and then slowly we're going to walk the hands as we turn the feet to face the opposite side wall this time for our Prasarita, our wide-legged forward fold. Now, because we don't have a dominant side with this pose, you don't have to do the same exact thing you did on the first side. So maybe if you tried something on side one, try something different here. So again, you have the options to walk the hands forward or back. You can take that twist again if you'd like. I'm going to talk you through a little bit of a deeper twist, one of my favorites, a little pretzel-like, but see if you want to try it with me. Grab your right hand to the outer edge of your left ankle, and then wrap your left arm around the small of your back. Good, still let the head hang heavy here. Good. And if you want to take this one step further, bring a bend into the right leg. You'll feel a nice stretch on the right arm, right shoulder, left inner thigh. Nice big juicy stretch here. But no, you don't have to take this. You can take that twist we took on the first side, or you don't have to take any twist at all. But if you're wrapped up like I am, gently releasing out of that, hanging back heavy in the center. Good. If you're doing anything that you need to even out, go ahead and do that. If we're going to twist on the opposite side now, left hand to the outside of the right ankle. Right arm wrapped around the small of the back. And then deep bend into that left leg this time. Good. Take one more breath if you're twisted here with me. We're all going to meet back center in just a moment. Good. So meeting back center in our traditional Prasarita. Let everything kind of settle in, even out. And then just like last time, we're going to lift, hands come to prayer. We're just lifting halfway with the top body. Deep bend into that left leg toward the top of the mat, finding Skandasana, our ninja lunge. Good. And then slowly and with control, turning the feet to face forward. Finding your balance. Hands to prayer. If you press them, will help with this balance. Find your dristi. And then we're going to shift and lift into that warrior 3. Good. So left leg is close to straight. You can have that micro bend there. Right leg is straight, just hip height. Flex the right foot to help with your balance. Knowing at any point you can lower these hands to blocks or to the earth. Good. Don't forget to breathe here while we're balanced. Good. One more full breath. And then slow and control, we step back to our low lunge. Awesome. Bring the hands to frame out the left foot. And then step the left leg back to meet the right. If you're going to move through the final flow, here we go. We're lowering halfway. Arms nice and close to the body. Flipping onto the tops of your feet for your upward facing dog. Or lowering the hips for your high or low cobra. Good. And then meeting back in downward facing dog. Good. Let's roll out to a high plank. And slowly and with control, we're going to lower all the way to our bellies. And you're going to roll over onto your backs. We're going to round out today's practice on our backs with some stretches. I'm going to come sideways just so you can see me. Just take a moment. Settle in. Come back to the breath. Good. Let's bring a bend into the right leg as we draw the knee in closer to the chest. Good. And I actually want you to bend the left leg, plant the sole of the left foot, and cross that right ankle on top of the left knee. So we're kind of in a reclined pigeon here. So you can bring the right hand to the right knee to gently open it up. And as always, I'm going to give you lots of options. Feel free to take what you want, leave what you don't. And if at any point anything becomes too much, just come back to where we were previously. So this is option 1. You can stay right here if you're getting a nice hip stretch. If you want to try to get a little bit deeper, lift the left foot off the earth, interlace the hands behind that left hamstring so you can use that left leg. You're drawing the left leg closer to the body, keeping that right knee open. Good. Getting a little bit deeper into this hip opener. Good. And as always, stay here. Final piece, if you want to try, you can straighten that left leg, maybe even lift the shoulders off of the earth. Good. So lots of options always. Please just listen to your body. Honor where it is, what it wants. If anything hurts, don't do it. Good. Wherever you are, we're going to take another 3 breaths or so here. If this left leg is lifted, gently bringing the sole of the left foot back to the earth, releasing any hand grip you might have, lowering the shoulders and head to the mat. Good. And then let's gently uncross that right leg. And let's just drop the knees side to side. Loosen up the back, the hips for a moment, and then we'll get into our second side. Good, so this time bringing the left knee in toward the chest, giving it a nice little squeeze. Bringing the sole of the right foot to the earth, right leg is bent, and then crossing that left ankle on top of that right knee. And even if you know you want to go further, don't rush anything. Let's take the same steps we did on the first side. So maybe start by gentle pressure on that left knee to open this hip here. Flex that left foot. Good. And then you can stay right here if you're getting a nice hip opener. If you want to take it a little bit further, lift the right foot off the earth. Interlace the hands behind that right hamstring. Good. Good. Drawing the legs a little bit closer to the body to deepen this hip opener. And then knowing you have that final piece, if you choose to take it by straightening the right leg and lifting the shoulders off the earth. Pick your poison. Find what serves you. Just settle in for a few breaths. Really trying to keep your focus on your breath, on your body, on your yoga practice for just a few more minutes today. Good. Take one more full breath. Nice deep inhale. And exhale. As we slowly make our way back out of this. So if your right leg's lifted, lowering the right foot back to the earth. Releasing any hand grip you have. Good. Uncrossing the legs. And once more, just dropping the knees gently side to side, windshield wipering them out, loosening up that lower back. Good. We're going to take a couple gentle bridge poses here just to work the back a little bit more. So let's bring the arms along the side of the body. Really bring your shoulder blades closer underneath your back. Bring your heels closer to your sits bones. Feet are fully connected to the earth. You're just going to lift your hips up high to the sky. Good. Make sure you have some space between your chin and your chest for your air to flow. Let's see if you can lift a little bit higher. Good. Gently lower. We're going to do that one more time. If you want to drop the knees side to side again, you can. We're going to take one more bridge pose. If you have full wheel in your practice and you want to take that, obviously you are welcome to. But I'm going to guide you through just another bridge. So meeting back center once more. Bring those shoulder blades closer underneath the back. Maybe even interlacing the hands underneath as you lift the hips. Good. Imagine you have a block between the knees, so really engage those inner thighs. Lift a little bit higher. Good. Final breath. Good. And then gently lower once more. Feel free to drop the knees side to side. Loosen up that lower back. Good. And let's hug the knees into the chest. We're going to round out class here with a nice spinal twist. So hugging the knees in first, and then we're going to drop both knees to the right. So you can grab your right hand to the outer edge of the left knee, dropping both knees to the right side, extending that left arm out if you have the space, and gaze whether the eyes are open or closed. And I really like to keep mine closed at this point in my practice. Gaze is off that left arm. So we're twisting from the core here. Just settle in for a few breaths. Trying to twist a little bit deeper each time you exhale. The back should be nice and warmed up today. Let's take our final breath here. Releasing that hand grip, using the core, bringing the knees through center. Right arm extends out to the side this time, dropping both knees to the left. Good. Left hand to the outside of that right knee to help draw the knees a little closer to the earth. Gazing off that right arm. Bringing yourself out like a towel. Good. Taking a few breaths here, settling in. Good. Final full breath. Take a nice deep inhale. And exhale. Good. Bringing the knees back into center. Giving yourself a nice little squeeze. Good. And then just gently release everything back to the earth. Preparing for our final Shavasana. And if there's anything you need to do to get comfortable here, maybe dim the lights, turn the song, turn off the music. If you're on my playlist, I'm just skipping ahead to the very last song. It's Acceptance. And I want you to just close your eyes here. Let's take a nice deep breath to help settle in. So breathe in, fill up through your nose, breathe all the way in, fill those lungs. And open mouth, let that breath go. Okay, just close your eyes and settle in for just a few minutes. Giving yourself permission to slow down. You know, we live in a society and in a culture that values the grind, even with all the negative impacts it has on us. Many people wear their burnout like a badge of honor, but in reality, it's important that we take our rest as seriously as we take our hustle. I looked this up this morning. There's 1,440 minutes in a day. We're going to take 2 to 3 right now to just find some peace and quiet in our bodies, and hopefully that will lead to some peace and quiet in our minds. So focusing on your breath, coming back to your resolution, your intention. And if you notice any areas of tension, just trying to soften, trying to release them, even simple, small areas like in your face. Relaxing the jaw, bring the tongue away from the roof of the mouth. Knowing that you're fully supported here. Maybe letting the feet and hands fall out wide. If there's any tension in the shoulders, letting that go. In the hips and glutes, just releasing that and just breathing for just a few more moments out of your entire day. And if you find that your mind is wandering, just bring your focus to your breath. And notice that you're breathing in and that you're breathing out. Feeling grateful for that breath. Feeling open to the possibilities of a new day, of a new week. Really a new month, a new year as well. Taking just a final few breaths here. You can start to invite some gentle movements back into the body. Maybe start wiggling the fingers and the toes. Maybe rolling out the wrists or ankles. Maybe very gentle rock of the head side to side. Let's find that full body stretch once more. So bring the legs together to touch, pointing the toes. Arms extend overhead or to opposite elbows if you don't have the space for this full body stretch. Good. Suck that belly in. Feel a nice long line of energy all the way from the fingertips to the toes. And then bringing the knees in toward the chest for the last time, wrapping the arms around the legs, giving yourself a nice little hug. And then rolling over onto your right side, finding fetal pose. So after Shavasana, we find our position of renewal, fresh starts. And when you're ready, and there's no rush at all, using your left hand for some support, just gently guide yourself back into a seated position. Again, hands can face up or down, heart center, whatever resonates with you. Let's close class today with one collective breath. So even though we're not truly all together, in this sense we are, we'll take a nice deep inhale through the nose, fill all the way up, and open mouth, let it all go. I like to end with my hands at prayer heart center, bowing my head toward the heart. Thank you all so much for joining me, for allowing me to be your guide. May you be happy, may you be well, may you be safe, may you live peacefully. Namaste. Thank you all so much. I hope everyone has a great day, great week, and I will see you soon.